the first to know Nsem-Pii TV.
Na yebo ediura the Economic and Financial Crime Division of the Accra High Court. Na yako pick a live report at the free court. Sanse ne court to be quasitra. And ne justice a fiase wa sarebotwe ebe determine an evidence. Yeah, the office of the Attorney General attender in say yenyintum ana yenyintum. This evidence happens to be 68 WhatsApp messages. Yeah, various forms of conversations between the learned Attorney General Godfrey Yabadame and the third accused Richard Jakpa. That was where court left. Mra court to Kwasitran. Now, say 68 WhatsApp messages in the as evidence in the ongoing trial and as a court to into any now a further cross examination between the state and a Big C General Trading Limited na Nkasa. Omua kontra na Nkasa form hono the Dubai Gurus omo Ghana and so yebehwe said the nyoma ebesi akọ. Now until then, an issue cropped up in court. Issue nene say the Deputy Attorney General Alfred Trayeboa Emma the learned Justice Efiase Wasarebotwe enyanti yese Emra court to share on the 13th of June. And nyoma course of court, ya a friend court proceedings nina. Obi a recordoi Emra ni tiamra. Ama nei sa recorded versions of court proceedings on the 13th of June. It has found itself on various social media platforms dominated by the NDC. Into ye can say. In fact, Justice Efiase was able to tell us it was say national security for no suko no munye on that unauthorized audio enhunu nipa kra owura court ko di se adwumadi. Now enra yenenam any picky feeds from various platforms say preliminary investigations by the national security agencies abetuja. Now, from the preliminary investigations, abetuja say nipa na otais are on authorized recording of court proceedings on the 13th of June. Eye NDC's Sammy Gyamfi. It is yet to be established by full report from the national security agencies that say Sammy Gyamfi na netais are doing it. But until then, ye mra no kasa se will be to sana monua a subject to contempt of court. Contempt of court also a day. In fact, punishment be ena eba. The ask to say preliminary investigations are to jam. Ebe confirm the full investigation say and pa Sammy Gyamfi and netais are no chidie. We rest with the punishment a year contempt of court. Yeah, they know ABC. Now let's go on to the issue number 2. Issue number 2 happens to be the sharp contrast in information given by the third accused, Richard Jakpa. 1. When he was cross-examined by Onuankasane lawyer, Dr. Abdul Basit Bamba. 2. When he was cross-examined by the director of public prosecution, Yvonne Atakra Obobisa. And some of the Bobo Brasa. And when I say you go through some of them, crack. Now you the train and the decision be free. The Financial and Economic Crime Division of the Accra High Court. The Edikai, the number of messages, a transpire between or no, and the Attorney General. Under cross-examination, Richard Jakpa say 4 messages and the transpire between or no, and the Attorney General. Under cross-examination, so copy say 68. Now out of the 68, emu 2 pe and Attorney General a reply Richard Jakpa. Justice Efiase Wasarebotwe ebisa Richard Jakpa say which is which. Richard Jakpa ji to say enye 4 na obekan. Na emomu no 4 no mom na na esiw to ono no the case ya opesa oye e court enu nti ene no ho asem eno beboy. Now, my woman free say everything Richard Jakpa said under cross-examination from the lawyer, he took an oath. Everything he is saying under cross-examination from Director of Public Prosecution, he took an oath. And one of the contrasting information Richard Jakpa has to do with the number of messages a transpire between Ono and the Attorney General. They say it is 4 against 68. Why they cannot pray? Number 2, Richard Jakpa under cross-examination can say a Attorney General and another cause tatano because say na owotimpo bi say ekwan biaso obejeli ato force na by election aba ewo adwumako enya ne siam constituency in the central region ema wono Richard Jakpa kura busa Attorney General say na wo ye sure say by election ba on betumi aweni ana. Now under cross examination by Yemame Yvonne Atakuro Bobisa say beto odwa say the first time Richard Jakpa any Attorney General di nkomo no according to ono Richard Jakpa na ye bra na wa meeting the bail requirement na open more from the Attorney General amyama ne bail eno ena offered ne cousin Justice Yoni Kolendi. Richard Jakpa say Justice Yoni Kolendi na owo court wa odi asem with the ropes on one ropes in po and about police station and our friend Attorney General say the client and the family member Richard Jakpa meet bail conditions and only the first time on Richard Jakpa ended the Attorney General a casa of funds and someone that cross examination from the lawyer Attorney General moment and the course or tata no and also there's been a sharp contrast of information. Number 2, or can say Emra, the Honorable Justice Yoni Kolendi, afraid the Attorney General Befi. Now no Richard Jakpa, which was on the 16th of February 2022. That was the first time we shared the Attorney General. Under cross-examination by the Director of Public Prosecution, Richard Jakpa said he met the Attorney General before December 2021 because na Attorney General Taiba Justice Yoni Kolendi will discuss issues related to law and cases in court. And he has shifted from 16th of February 2022 up before December 2021. Sharp contrast. Ebion Richard Jakpa say Justice Yoni Kolendi and I'm not so and an ensaka the Attorney General Godfrey Yabadame number Yano Dinkitam. Under cross-examination from the Director of Public Prosecution, Richard Jakpa say he picked the number of the Attorney General from Justice Yoni Kolendi's phone, even without the prior knowledge of Justice Yoni Kolendi. And nothing I was sending the Attorney General text message. Then was say or introduce no say ne cousin any Justice Yoni Kolendi and sana Attorney General impo granting the audience. Which is which? Sharp contrast. And your money be one you sign epic from these cases nese. Appeals court at the ruling by Emra now the first accused Dr. Casey Lato Force Aqua appeal say charge idea up atiano yeah 1 willfully causing financial loss to the state. 2 intentionally misapplying public property. Ya nani nyina without due cause and authorization yentwamono. Appeals court ruling ebe to abonti e kire say. Sa charge ni twamwenye because evidence kita omo kire say 1 the 2.37 million euro was applied at Ghana yenya somfasobia. And then that the contract between the government of Ghana and Big C stipulated that yentuye sika bia kopem say yebenya value for money yaye inspection on the goods and sana ye issue any letter of credit enti charge him you know a diabo case lato force the charge still holds and that the appeal court agrees perfectly with the decision of the High Court. Under cross-examination, Richard Jakpa can say on no contract kura no ne de ye sign ye one and was issue letter of credit, which is contrary to the ruling of the appeals court on the 2 charges or the 2 counts near Diabo, Keselato Force. A bill, Richard Jakpa can say, letter of credit no edi can call him. Na eno ye sovereign guarantee for Big C, but not payment. But a Appeal Court ruling on the buyer chirimu, payment was effected from that letter of credit. And throughout the cross-examination, these are some of the contrasting information from two different cross-examinations. Richard Jakpa and the cross-examination from Dr. Abdul Basit Bamba, Richard Jakpa and the cross-examination from Yvonne Atakra Obuebisa. Now, what happens? A Emra Court establishes say an accused person is lying under oath. So that's something court and between me decide. But until then, we are just whetting your appetite for a new man or the Financial and Economic Crime Division of the Accra High Court.
Yes, my men say on the 13th of this month, all the asem court no ya recording no. Ena omodi asem adeno to social media so ena almost share on their WhatsApp platforms. Ena drama no eba court na judge penny ni buafu. To your friend lawyer for call ni chimbe ni a conclave says ane kano. Ena mukusia uwie no ena all directing national security for say omunkwa investigate no muhu ni pa or record this voice no e dey free court to them who appear bonti because anytime I be record the BB I will court without the permission of the judge no a contempt of court. Jamun person any panel family na me
examination by the Attorney General on Thursday, would that bring everything to an end for the judge to now decide you know the merits and then pass judgments in the day that she will set?
No. So what is going to happen after Richard Jakpa? There's yet another person that will be cross-examined, and this is Big C, the Big C people. Okay. You know, they are the main
company that was to supply
with the government of Ghana to supply the ambulance. Richard Jakpa is their local agent. So they will also be cross-examined, and so Richard Jakpa's cross-examination wouldn't end the matter. Trial.
Okay. Yeah. Now today, let's start from the onset. Before the court was called into section, we understand that the Deputy Attorney General had concerns with what he claims to be somebody who had recorded proceedings of last Thursday and was circulating the audio recording on WhatsApp. Tell us about it.
Yeah, correct. So this was when, after Richard Jakpa was made to mount the witness box to be cross-examined by the Director of Public Prosecution. And then Afetoy Abua rose and put before the trial judge that this is what he has found, that there's been a circulation of portion of Thursday's proceedings in court, which is being circulated on some audio, which is being circulated on some WhatsApp platforms. And so he wanted the trial judge to take cognizance of that and then take the necessary action, if you like. Then she found it very problematic because she said it's prohibited for anyone to record the proceedings in court. In fact, the journalists who sit through proceedings have been told that it is not allowed, it is prohibited to record proceedings in court. So she found it to be problematic. Quickly, she called the leadership, and I'm talking about the lead counsel for Keselato Forcing, lead counsel for Richard Jakpa, and the prosecution into a conclave. And it took a little longer than we expected. We thought it was going to be like some 10 minutes meeting, but then it went on for like 20 minutes. Now, when they came back, the trial judge issued a warning and asked that national security should take up the issue, investigate and get to the bottom of whoever recorded that proceedings. And once investigations is done, we know the outcome of it. It means if you are
obviously found, you'll be in contempt of court.
Exactly. You are going to be dealt with. She said if it continues again, she will be forced to take additional stringent measures, which would be that the rest of the proceedings or the trial will be held in camera.
Meaning only the lawyers and their clients will be in court.
Will be in court to, if it continues. But now she has asked National Security to take up any.
But did the Deputy Attorney General provide any name as to the one behind the circulation of this audio recording of the court proceedings on Thursday?
For those of us who sat in open court, who didn't join the conclave, we were unable to tell whether or not at that meeting in chambers, the deputy AG mentioned names or not. We do not know. All we know is that they went in there to verify the claim that had been made by the Deputy Attorney General, after which the judge issued this directive for National Security to investigate and also issued the warning that if it continues, she will be left with no option than to, hold the rest of the proceedings in camera. And
then before the cross-examination started, the Attorney General himself, Godfrey Adame, walked into the court.
Yeah. So,
but he didn't do the cross-examination?
Yes, he didn't do the cross-examination. For the last two sittings, if I'm right, he didn't show up in court. And so there was this rumor that, okay, he has now taken the advice of this trial judge. Today, he showed up, took his seat, but then he didn't do the cross-examination, even though he was conferring with the Deputy Attorney General, whilst the Director of Public Prosecution was on her feet questioning Richard Jakpa. He didn't directly cross-examine, the third accused.
So now, let's get to the meat of the matter. The first issues that came up, one of them had to do with whether Jakpa was sacked from the Ghana Armed Forces and whether he failed his promotion exams.
Correct. So this question, you see the question he just asked.
And a yes or no answer that was required.
Yes or no answer. It took 4 pages. And I think it went even beyond 4 pages. Answer by Richard Jakpa. So that was the question. Mr. Jakpa, you failed your promotion exams in 2000. I don't recall the exact year. I think it was 2000 or so. Then Richard Jakpa said that will be inaccurate. And then he went on and on with explanation. So let me just run us through a bit of the explanation that he came up with. He mentioned to the court that he was commissioned into the Ghana Armed Forces in 1998 as a regular career corps intake 38 and was not dismissed but was released honorably. Those were his words. He was released honorably by the Ghana Armed Forces. So he went back to when Adokufo was then Minister of
Defense. And this will be President Kufuor's era.
And that the minister had visited Sunyani, where he was in charge of a whole unit. A unit Richard Jakpa claims could only be headed by a major, someone who has the rank of a major in the Ghana Army. He wasn't a major, but he was heading that unit.
So, he was heading the 3BN as a commanding officer?
A unit that's supposed to be headed by a major.
Not a unit, it's actually a whole 3BN is the 3 Infantry Battalion based in Sunyani.
Yeah.
Yes.
He made this case and many other cases to suggest to the prosecution that he is not that dumb to fail an exams organized by the Ghana Armed Forces. He quoted some exams he passed with a university in Pennsylvania and other foreign universities. He said he wrote 25 exams in 2 years and got over 97% in total.
But the question was whether he failed the promotion exams at the Ghana Armed Forces.
Then he makes the case that he was victimized because he's carrying the baggage of his father.
Who is his father?
He says his father was part of the cadres who got former President Jerry John Rawlings from prison during the revolution. And so...
That is when the late former President Rawlings was arrested after staging a coup d'etat.
Exactly. That his father was the secretary of a unit, which for him was like the administrative body of the cadres. And so they led to the, release of former President Rawlings from prison. And so all the senior military officers who knew his father knew him. And so when he got into the army, he didn't get favors from any of the senior military officers who started victimizing him right from day one when he got into the army. He went on to say that he was the best marksman of his intake, the unit. He was the best marksman. It means he was the one who was on top when it comes to weapons handling and all of that. And so when President Jerry John Rawlings came to commission the unit, he instructed that he, Richard Jakpa, be sent to the Gonda barracks and not to the base where they repair vehicles and armored vehicles and all of that. That went contrary to what the military unit had done.